What is the biggest unsolved mystery in human history? So the monarch butterfly migrates to Mexico and back every year. During the year there are a full 4 generations of butterflies that live and die during the journey. Upon returning back from Mexico, the butterfly manages to find the same trees its relatives started out at despite never having been there. So I have a personal experience, sort of. My father had a co-worker who was a great guy. Good at his work, fun to talk to, nobody had any complaints about him. He lived in an apartment right next to work, so the night watchman at the workplace would see him whenever he went out. So one night, he went out in his pajamas, talking on his cell phone, nodded at the watchman. The watchman didn't think much of it. After all, it's not all that weird to take a walk even though it was quite late. He didn't think much of it. The watchman didn't see him come back, but he figured he missed him when he went on his bathroom break probably. But the guy didn't show up at work the next day. Someone from work went to check up and he wasn't there. Nothing was disturbed, he was just gone. Everyone thought he had dropped dead, killed by thugs or an accident or some medical condition. The workplace filed a police report. Here's when it gets weird. It turns out, the guy had created a fake identity. Any credentials he had given were fake. The references he had given had never heard of him. The family address he'd given didn't exist. The police didn't find anything illegal in the apartment, but they didn't find anything that would give a clue as to who he was either. We moved away a few years ago, but I don't think the case was ever solved. It's definitely the best unexplained mystery that I personally come across. Edit: to answer some questions, I don't live in the US and there's no concept of witness protection here that I know of. My father was a pathologist at a women's hospital in a very small town and the guy worked as his technician. He definitely had some experience in the field before he joined. The job also wasn't a well-paid one as many employees would quit quite frequently. In 1893, British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans purchased some ancient stones with mysterious inscriptions on them at a flea market in Athens. On a later trip to the excavations at Knossos on the island of Crete, he recognized one of the symbols from his stones and began a study of the engraved tablets being uncovered at various sites on the island. He discovered 2 different systems, which he called Linear A and Linear B. While Linear B was deciphered in the early 1950s, it turned out to represent an early form of Greek. Linear A, above, has still not been deciphered. There is an entire culture of information that predates much of our history, a window into ancient humanity that is simply locked away from us because we don't know how to read it. Maybe the question of how many things are in our oceans that we did not discover yet. The sea is hella scary to me, and not because of the water. I don't know about biggest, but I always thought the Voynich manuscript was very interesting. A huge book written in an unknown language or cipher that has never been translated or decoded with diagrams of plant species that don't exist. Lots of theories surrounding it, but no definitive answers as to the origins or the content. Why did we all just globally decide that those blue Dutch cookie tins hold sewing supplies? I love unsolved mysteries, but one that always gets me is the murder of Missy Beavers. She was killed in the early morning at a church that she taught yoga at. Security footage from the church showed the murderer roaming the halls of the church all night, but that's not what's weird. What's weird is that the murderer was dressed head to toe in police riot gear. It is the weirdest and eeriest video footage and is just unsettling. There's lots of theories, but her murder has never been solved, and I believe there hasn't even been a real suspect in the case. The lead mask mystery of Brazil. The bodies of 2 men found wearing lead masks covering their eyes with a notebook that mysteriously read 4:30 p.m. be at the determined place 6:30 p.m. swallow capsules, after effect, protect metals, wait for signal in Portuguese. Where the fuck did my 10mm socket go? Neither medicine nor science has an answer for what consciousness is, or where it originates. Why does Donald Duck put a towel around his waist when he gets out of the shower if he doesn't wear pants? An active one in the archaeology world is the exact time frame of when humans made it to the Americas. The date keeps getting pushed back with more controversial discoveries that then just turn to evidence as they pile up. It's a fascinating story to see unfold. How the universe is even possible. Why the fuck do we even exist? We like to think we understand the universe and that physics is a well-grounded discipline, and in some ways it is. However, we have no idea what dark matter or dark energy is, and yet we think it makes up 27% and 68% of the universe respectively. In Australia, in 2011, someone broke into a TV station and spent 4 hours flushing $100,000 down the toilet. Why is there something rather than nothing, is still pretty much at imho. That most of human history is undocumented and we will never know our entire history as a species. We didn't start recording our history until 5000 BCE, we do know we shifted to agrarian societies around 10,000 BCE, but beyond that we have no idea what we were like as a species. We will never know the undocumented parts of our history that spans tens of thousands of years. We are often baffled by the technological progress of our ancient ancestors, like those in Asia who must have been masters of the sea to have colonized the variety of islands there and sailed vast stretches of ocean to land on Australia and New Zealand. What is ironic is we currently have an immense amount of information about our world today and the limited documented history of our early days as a species, but that is only a small fraction of our entire history. Late to the party, but I haven't seen anyone mention the Indus Valley Script. There was a huge civilization in northern India and Pakistan around 3300 to 1300 BC. It spanned more area than any other civilization at the time. They invented writing independently, something only done 5 to 6 times in history. But to this day, with all the thousands of inscriptions we have and all the documented contact with other civilizations, we haven't deciphered their writing. There's no known Rosetta Stone, no known descendant scripts, no known documentation of the language other than what is written in the Indus Valley Script. But the biggest mystery isn't how to read the script or what it says, but the question of whether we'll ever be able to know. Is it even possible to decipher a language we know absolutely nothing about? Edit, to all the people talking about AI, yes. I get it. AI is cool, but this is a far larger task than the pattern recognizing and replicating AI we have today can tackle on its own. Some AI has been used to find patterns in which characters go together most often, but this is a long shot away from being able to read the script. AI will have to be far more advanced than it is today to be able to crack this code. The final words of the Emperor Titus were, "I have but one regret." We don't know and never will what that regret was. Edit, on reflection it's even better, I have made but one mistake. Supreme confidence. Who is going to Long John Silver's enough to keep them around?